Starfy is a video game, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We want to know what happened to Starfy. Before we talk about all that, we should probably go over what a Starfy is. This is the kingdom of Pufftop, where Starfy reigns over every other star creature as the prince. But technically, he has the king and queen, but they're not really in the newest game, so whatever. In the legendary Starfy, the game starts with these three mysterious figures chasing after a bunny man. Starfy saves the guy with his spin move, and the bunny man falls into the ocean, which Starfy then decides to follow him into said ocean. Now, everyone knows about the giant squid that lives in the ocean beneath Pufftop, and somehow, in this great big ocean, we've landed directly on top of the monster's head. Enraged with us, it grabs the random bystander and runs away. Now our goal is clearly to rescue the bunny man from the squid. This game is a 2D platformer very similar to Mario, and especially to the Kirby games. I mean, Kirby is the little circle man, and Starfy is the little star man. Okay, so now just imagine a Mario or a Kirby game, but the only main difference is that every level is a water level. Well, only like 90% of every level is water, but when you're outside the water, you move like this, which is pretty slow. Eventually, you do get the power to run, which Starfy does like a natural. The idea of the whole game being a water level might seem like a personal living hell to most people who have played water levels and other 2D platformers, but the homies who made this game, of course, knew that already, so they gave Starfy like a million different moves to use while underwater that you unlock after playing for a little bit. Eventually, you track down and beat down the squid monster and save Bunny Guy. At some point before this, you reunite with your best friend, Mo the Clam. Now, this man here is probably one of the coolest, if not the very best character in this game. I don't know how they made a clam this cool, but they accomplished it. Also, for the rest of the game, he will sit here on the bottom of your screen and tell you when treasure is around, which is so incredibly nice as someone who loves to 100% most games. I loved collecting these treasures as a kid so much because some of them are costumes that you can make Starfy wear in the menus. You get this little 3D model Starfy and he wears whatever you collect and equip to him. This one is my favorite. So thank you again, Mo. I actually wanted to learn more about this character, so I opened up the Starfy wiki, and I am shocked to reveal that Mo, of all characters, has an insanely messed up backstory. As a child, his parents were divorced, and Mo's mother was forced out of her own home, taking Mo and his little triplet siblings with her. Later on, she became ill and died, leaving Mo to take care of his siblings alone. There's literally a scene of them living in poverty. 2 games later in Starfy 3, Mo's father is killed while protecting Mo from a lightning attack. And I thought this was just a funny starfish game. Back to the legendary Starfy. After fighting the squid, you move on to fight the 3 mysterious figures from the beginning of the game. Their names are Ronk, Papes, and Snips, and you fight them one at a time as the final bosses of each world. And wouldn't you know it, as the final boss for one of the other stages, you fight all 3 of them at the same time. As a small human child, this was basically unbeatable for me, but as a grown adult playing a game made for children, by God, that was pretty easy. But then they hit you with the greatest twist of all time. You fight all 3 of them again at the same time, but this time it's a game of rock, paper, scissors. Get it? Because the characters are based on the game Rock, Paper, Scissors. Look, it impressed me as a kid, okay? Anyways, this isn't actually up to chance at all, because I quickly realized there's a really easy tell. At the beginning of each round, the characters jump up, but the one who jumps up at a separate time from the others is the one who's going to attack. So it's not that hard at all, and I don't really have any complaints. On a totally unrelated, but actually pretty related note, it's time to fight the final boss. The 3 idiots become good guys and tell us how to beat the final boss or something. This guy, Mashtooth, is killing all the bunnies of the land, and that's why the main bunny came to get Starfy's help. So he's got like 2 attacks, and you can hit him basically whenever, so it's not too bad. I swear, I remember this game being harder as a kid. But phase 2 of the final fight made me realize that I have, in fact, never beaten this game because I do not remember this final battle being in 3D. And since it's swapped from 2D to 3D, Mash Tooth now has 3 attacks instead of 2. Although, technically, it's still only 2 attacks, this lightning one and this meteor one. And the 3rd attack is just both of these combined. So I don't really know if that counts as 3 unique attacks. Anyways, blow this guy up, save the bunnies. Starfy says womp womp, and you're a hero who can now wear the skin of the slain final boss. There's a big post game with 2 more worlds of content that you get to play as Starly. No, not that Starly, this Starly, Starfy's sister. But I wasn't about to do all that. After replaying this game, I have 3 main complaints. This game is impossible with a D-pad. Obviously, that's not the game's fault, but I think that does call for a sequel on the Switch. Come on, let me control the game with one of these. Number 2 is how zoomed in the screen is. Countless times I have been swimming downwards and my old man reaction time can't process the information fast enough to attack. Speaking of attacks, this brings us to my last point. The main basic attack. Actually the only attack in the game, the spin attack, has a huge drawback. If you press the button 3 times in a row, you get dizzy for a couple seconds and can't move. I guess this makes sense because, you know, you're basically invincible while spinning, so it needed to be limited in a way, but like, come on, I want to spin, man, I want to spin. But the good outweighs the bad, in my opinion. The music is fun, like a good Nintendo game should be. The sound effects are incredibly nostalgic for someone like me, and probably anyone else who played this game 50 years ago. Every time you talk to this clam and the little mermaid pops out and says, "Gosh, that just makes me so happy." The characters are awesome and lovable, and I haven't even spoken about half of them yet. Moe's orphan siblings even appear in this game. Starfy also had a total character arc over all his games. While in the first couple of games he was more of a crybaby and a lot younger, he's matured to the point of helping others without hesitation in the newer games, and I just think that's so nice. There are 5 Starfy games in total. These 4 I can't read because I never learned this language, but this one I can read. That's right, the legendary Starfy was the only game to be released outside of Japan. This game was released in 2009 and hasn't received a 6th game since then. And the question on all of our minds is, why? Where is our next Starfy game? Well, here I am to tell you exactly what's going on here, whether you like it or not. Okay, technically you could just stop watching the video, but why would you have clicked on this in the first place? Digging a bit deeper, we can easily find more information about this series, and what quickly caught my eye was the fact that there was a canceled game. Gasp! Was this the mystery 6th game that never released because the general public wasn't prepared for the amazing gift of Starfy? Wait, no, never mind. This game was canceled back in 2000, which is 2 years before the first game even came out. So that has nothing to do with, nope. We obviously need to do some more research here. Any little thing that can give us a sliver of information about what happened to Starfy. Right. I have no idea how to process any of this information. While searching, I found a lot of great stuff. Apparently, Wario himself has appeared in Starfy, specifically Starfy 3, and I do believe that is Wario standing right there. There was also a long-running Starfy manga, which of course also isn't English, so I can't enjoy this either. Starfy is also in Super Smash Bros. No, not as a playable fighter, but also not as something lame like a sticker or a spirit. He's an assist trophy, and I think this is the closest we'll ever get to a Starfy Kirby crossover. Starfy has also made other appearances, like as a poster in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, and there's also a costume based on Starfy in Super Princess Peach. Clearly, looking into crossovers isn't going to answer our question, so let's try something else. Aha! According to this interview with Nintendo back in 2009, when asked if there are any plans for a 6th Starfy game, the answer was yes. Okay, so we're good. Another Starfy game is coming. Nice. This video was completely pointless then.